I was diagnosed with lung cancer, surprisingly, on the weekend of my birthday, last October.
I had stage 4 lung cancer metastasized to the brain.
My father was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2019 and passed away in 2020.
I was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2021, and the only thing I could think of was, I have to fight this. We're gonna do everything possible for me to survive, to make sure that I'm still around for my 3 boys.
It was October 2nd, so I go to the gym as usual. After I worked out, I started feeling some kind of pain or pulling on my left rib cage. So I'm thinking, well, I may have pulled a muscle. So all day I'm in pain. Finally, I drive to the hospital. I'm like, I'll be back in time to take my son to school. Well, the doctor comes in and says, we found a blood clot in your left lung and a suspicious mass on your right lung. And I'm like, what is he talking about? Just give me my muscle relax and let me go home. And he's like, you can't go home. It was non-small cell lung cancer. It was cancer.
I was feeling chest pains. That was because my lung collapsed. So when I went to the emergency room, they did a PET scan and they did MRI of the brain because I was having slight headaches. I tried to get cancer screening a year before that. I had stopped smoking cigarettes, but I was questionable because I smoked cigarettes for so long. So I wanted to get screening. My doctor said the healthcare company wouldn't do it until I was in my 50s. I got diagnosed at 48.
So my dad was like the rock of our family. He's always supported me in every aspect of my life. I know that I was there for him to walk along the way to make sure that he got the best care from the time that he was diagnosed to the time that he transitioned. But besides financial obstacles, you can't get in to see a specialist sometimes for months at a time. And that causes many of the issues and delayed care for many patients.
In 2021, I got really sick around September and went to the ER. And they said, oh, you have pneumonia. I said, okay. So I got some antibiotics and was told to follow up with my primary care physician. But I increasingly got worse. So I went back to my doctor. He's like, let me give you another round of antibiotics. I'm like, okay. I called him, I said, it's not working, I'm getting worse. He said, okay, I'll schedule you a low-dose CT scan. So that was the beginning of finding out what was going on with me.
There's an easy test, low-dose CT scan, 45 seconds in a scanner, answers the question about whether you have something that needs a workup. Lung cancer is the #1 killer in the country. You can add together breast cancer, colon cancer, cervical cancer all together, and they still do not equate to the number of people who will lose their life to lung cancer. We know that lung cancers typically double in size every 3 months. You should get that primary prevention done. Low-dose CT scanning is part of that process.
We know that in breast cancer, about 70% of individuals are utilizing that screening process. And in lung cancer, only 10%. And we know that screening saves lives.
If you have lungs, you can get lung cancer. If you're breathing, you can get lung cancer. Cancer does not discriminate. 84% of those people that are at risk, they don't know if there's a low-dose CT scan available. Awareness needs to be raised, both with the public and with the healthcare professionals.
They could have caught it way earlier, of course, yes. It's very important because early detection is a great healing tool. The longer you take to get diagnosed with any kind of disease is the worse outcome could be. There are so much more treatments available now. Cancer is not like it was 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
There is some fatalism. If I have lung cancer, I've got lung cancer, nothing can be done, which of course is not at all true. And there are new medications and a variety of just miraculous developments. And one of the real tragedies, I think, with lung cancer, and the reason we don't talk about it so much, is that it's so strongly associated with cigarette smoking that often people are like, well, you did something bad and you got it, and so you don't deserve my sympathy. Lung cancer is not something you get because you did something wrong. It just happens like other cancers.
Some people just don't want to get screened because they don't want to put that burden on their family. It would be more burden on your family if you're not here. I wish that my dad was here to tell his story, how he wished he would have caught this disease earlier on. I'm sure he would tell anyone that if you don't feel right, go get tested. And if he would have gotten screened just a little bit earlier, he could have still been here much longer. He could have still been enjoying his grandkids and laughing and talking and cooking for us and taking the kids to their games. It's better to know than to not know.
Knowing is a part of the cure. And by knowing, it did get caught in time enough where I can do treatments, and the treatment is working. I go once every 3 weeks, and the lung cancer has been shrinking.
I got surgery right after Christmas in 2021. Following 6 weeks of radiation, there was no evidence of disease. I am thankful that I listened to my body and that I questioned the doctor if I didn't go get checked out. How long would I have suffered through that cough, thinking it was something else?
I had to debate and think and pray hard about it because I did not want to do treatment just to do treatment. I said, I'm not doing chemo. I guess I should have ate my words. I shouldn't have said that. I took 3 rounds of chemo, 30 rounds of radiation, 0 side effects, and no spread, and no evidence of new disease, thank God. From diagnosis to post-treatment, 7 months.
I'm under 50 and I'm a non-smoker. You wouldn't have thought someone who worked out 3 to 4 times a week, walked, 3 boys running around, that I would have lung cancer. It's important to elevate different stories and perspectives about the impact of lung cancer, because there are many barriers that African American population face when it comes to lung cancer awareness and diagnosis. There's a lot of women and men who I've talked to who had various similar stories as me. They were told they had bronchitis. They were told they had asthma. They were told, that they had pneumonia. You're talking about a delayed diagnosis that is just happening in the African American community. Then when you compact it with socioeconomic factors, it becomes a layered barrier that seems hard to break through.
All has to do with a combination of access and a combination of social structures. We know, for example, that the African American community has very good reason to mistrust the healthcare community. And trust is essential. If somebody tells you this is important, you should come back and see me in 3 months, you have to be able to trust that they're telling you the truth and that they have your best interests at heart. So that's part of the problem. And access is part of the problem. What happens if we find something and the person doesn't have insurance? Then what? If we can't do the follow-up for economic reasons, for social reasons, we really haven't helped the person.
It's one thing to have insurance, another to have, say, a place locally nearby that's offering the scan that's easy to obtain. So for me, the idea that primary care is a perfect location for low-dose CT scanning to take off. It's about saving lives. It's about saving money. It's about saving emotional toil to the loved ones who take care of these folks.
I still want my dad. I still wanted him to be here. I still need to call him. I still need him around to tell him about my kids and what they're doing. So if I could try to save someone else from the pain and suffering that we went through and how deeply that we miss our dad and grandfather, I'm here for it. So, yep, I'm here for it.